Now, from the Action 4 studios, Sports Director Clay Williams and Joe Bowling bring you the best in Valley High School football from the week past and for the week ahead. Highlights, analysis, and predictions from all across the Valley. It's time for Sunday Sports Extra.
And the countdown is on. Only 3 weeks left in the Valley High School football regular season. Welcome to Sunday Sports Extra. I'm Action 4 Sports Director Clay Williams. Joining me, as always, Action 4 Sports Reporter Joe Bowling, and our special guest this week, Valley Sports Writer Armando Garza. Armando, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Now, I appreciate you coming on because we're going to talk about one of the games that you were at, and it's a big game, but let's talk about the bigger game of the night from Friday night, and that was Tinaco Bowl 2. Yes, Wildcats and Panthers. Last year it was a shutout for Weslaco East. This time, not even close. This one all came down to the second half when Eric Gonzalez went nuts running for Weslaco. He ended up scoring 3 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion in the last half of this game, and Eric Gonzalez comes up huge for Weslaco. The running game comes up big, and the Weslaco defense comes up big as well as Weslaco wins it. But afterwards, everybody knew it was time to stop thinking about the rival Wildcats and start thinking about the next game against unbeaten McAllen.
Once we wake up in the morning and we come to flush out, it's just, we just forget about the game already and we get ready for the next opponent. Watch the film, so we got to improve on. We get ready for the McAllen Bulldogs.
Coach Brewer's done an amazing job. We got our hands full again. I don't know how banged up we are. We're probably pretty beat up, and hopefully we can line up and play with those guys. We like playing in the McAllen Stadium, so hopefully we can have a good night.
Coach Tony V saying that he knows Coach Brewer and his Bulldogs will be bringing it. But first, let's talk about the big game, Weslaco East. Joe, you were there. Any surprises from this game, or is it about what you thought? Did you think Weslaco would be able to shut down Weslaco East there in that second half?
Well, that's what I was shocked at, was that they shut down things. But they shut them down with their offense. Sustained drives. I'm talking if you don't even think about getting your offense on the field, you don't have to worry about you're going to be able to do something against Weslaco. And like Tony said, in that last drive when they went 17 plays, 70 yards, he wanted it to go 19 plays and take the rest of the time off the clock. I mean, it was a 9-minute drive, Clay. And so how can you offensively expect to do anything against a team that shuts you down by not letting you get on the field at all?
And that's what both of these teams love to do, because that's what Weslaco East did against San Benito. Long drives, shut down, keep the other team's offense off of the field. Impressed with Weslaco and what they've done so far? They haven't lost since Ed Cauchelse.
No, you have to be impressed, and that's Coach Tony. For a year they were stinging with that loss against Weslaco East. Now they've proven that. Big game against Mackay. I mean, nobody else but Coach Tony can coach these guys up 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, he calls it the redemption tour because he's beaten all the teams he lost to last year. But now here comes Mackay. And Armando, I want to talk with you about this Mackay team. Unbeaten on the year, yet they're not blowing anybody out. They're beating teams by 7, 8, 9. They've won all of their district games, and they're unbeaten there by less than 10 points. What do we expect from this Mackay team? What will we see when they play on Friday night?
You see a team effort with these guys. Fred Hover and Ricky Rodriguez get the headlines, and rightfully so. Those guys are great players. But just like Coach Brewer says, it's somebody else that steps up. It's the defense. Against San Benito, a fake punt for 38 yards and a touchdown. It's just contributions from everywhere. They bought into Coach Brewer, and then they played great together. There's no question about that.
But what will they do against an offense like Weslaco's is the big question. How will they perform, Armando, and what's your pick for the game, Weslaco, McAllen?
San Benito, they've played well against everybody. They put up 400 yards on Mackay. That doesn't bode well against a hot Weslaco team. I got to go with Weslaco at Lackey.
All right, there's one for Weslaco. What do you think on this one?
Fred Hover will get a lot of rest. He'll watch a lot of Weslaco offense. Weslaco wins this pretty easy.
Yeah, I've got to go with Weslaco. I've picked them to win this district from the beginning. I've been surprised and pleasantly so by McAllen. Didn't think they would do this well in their first year under Kevin Brewer. They're doing great, but I don't think the defense can keep Weslaco off the field. That's 3 in a row for the Weslaco Panthers. Now, meanwhile, in that same district, the meat grinder is getting ground up by Trevor Spates, the big man for McAllen Memorial. Another game of 250 yards plus rushing on the ground. You'll see them later in our top performers. Mac High is the hottest team in this district right now because they weren't that great early on, and now they are. Joe, how have they flipped the switch in Mustang Country?
Well, they flipped the switch by they let the quarterback do some new things, and he's a big 6'7" kid that can look over the defense, and when you got receivers that can go get the ball, and then Trevor Spates can come in, you set up a lot of good stuff, and they're not peaked yet. They're still getting better.
Well, and now their next game is huge. Look at the standings. Next up from McAllen Memorial, it's Weslaco East, and these two teams are tied now for third in 31-5A. And so, I mean, Armando, when you look at this game now, Weslaco East is hurting. They're smarting. Now they've got to take on one of the hottest teams in the valley in McAllen Memorial. How do you see this game playing out?
You know, Memorial's red hot. I was telling Joe off air that I saw him, and it feels like a year ago that I saw him. It's a completely different team. They're red hot. I got to go with the Mustangs. Weslaco East is drained from last week. Mustangs are hot.
They are definitely hot. What do you think, Joe?
East had trouble stopping the run, and here comes Trevor Spates. Memorial all the way.
Yeah, and it's not just Trevor Spates either, because, you know, Joel Alonso can get 200 yards in any game. They've got so many weapons. You talk about over the top from Sanchez to DJ Johnson. I mean, it is going to be tough to stop it. I've got McAllen Memorial winning that one as well, and that's going to be a fantastic game. We are still coming back on Sunday Sports Extra. We are just getting started. Going to talk about 32-4A and talk about the big win by the Rio Grande City Rattlers. They're headed for the playoffs, folks, with this run. We'll talk about that, plus the big rivalry. Get ready for it, because you know Ed Calchelson and Mercedes are. It's all when we come back.